everyone! Today is number 12 on my Galaxy Girls list. It is the Constellation Andromeda. Andromeda has an interesting story. She was an Ethiopian princess, daughter to Cassiopeia, and according to mythology, Cassiopeia bragged that Andromeda was prettier than Poseidon's nymphs, and Poseidon freaked out and chained Andromeda to a cliff so that his sea monster would come devour her. Of course, the real story is a little more complicated, but that's the gist of it. So since I've been playing around with kind of like lingerie or those fun cage bras, I wanted to continue that with this piece and make the contrast between the black lingerie and her kind of glowing body, because she is innocent in this entire thing, and I wanted the contrast to be in the design as well. I also wanted to play with that gold paint again with her chains, and instead of a cliff, I thought, okay, what could she be chained to? And I thought of nebula spires. So that's what I'm blocking in right here, kind of like those looming nebulas that you see from those awesome outer space pictures. I forget what one of them is called, the one that I mainly used for reference. It's kind of like the most popular, but I know one is called the Horsehead Nebula. If you're also doing Inktober, how are you guys keeping up? Are you feeling the burn? Have you maybe decided to slow down, or are you done? Are you going to try some more later? I'd love to hear your experiences. Even though it's technically day 15 when I'm posting this, I'm very proud of myself for doing 12 full-on illustrations in 15 days. That's definitely a record for me. Back in high school, I was in AP Art, which at least in America is the most advanced class you can take in high school in a certain category. And at the end of the class, you take a test and get a score of 1 to 5, with 5 being the best. And if you get some are different, but if you get a 3 to a 5, you get credit for a college level class. So some classes that I took at AP level, I didn't have to take the equivalent class in college, so it was kind of nice. Sometimes it's nice to be a nerd. But for the AP art class, you had to do 24 pieces in a year, which back then I thought was absolute madness, and I was always behind. I ended up taking 2 years of AP, so I even had 24 pieces that looked good enough to apply. Finishing one piece in a month was difficult for me. And sure, I had other stuff going on. I was on dance team and obviously had other classes, but I still have gained quite a bit of speed with my art. But that just comes with learning technique and just practicing every day for years. Fun fact I'm kind of proud of, I was the only one in my high school that year to get a 5 in AP art, so yes! Speaking of art classes, I get the question a lot, when did I start getting professional training in the arts? I was actually self-taught up until, I want to say, community college, because although I took art classes in high school every year, they were more like classes where you walk in and you don't really learn a whole lot. You just have assignments and you draw and get minor pointers, but it definitely wasn't like huge skill learning classes. When I was 18, I went to community college first, and I took my first figure drawing class, and that was definitely my first formal education in the arts, followed by a fundamental class where you do a lot of still lifes and practice with charcoal and all that fun stuff. So I took some of those classes for a couple years before deciding I definitely wanted to go to art school, and I actually took a year off to work at a restaurant as a waitress and save some funds to be able to go to LCAD. So I was a little bit older when I went to LCAD, but I'm glad I did it because I personally wasn't ready to go straight to art school. I had no idea if I wanted to be an illustrator or not. It was just what I liked to do most. I didn't know if it would be a viable job, but I always grew up having a knack and an obsession for drawing, so I figured I might as well go with my heart. You only live once. I'm extremely blessed that social media worked out for me after college because I'm honestly speechless every day when I wake up and know that I get to do my own artwork and share it to so many of you. I am beyond happy. I can't thank you all enough. Back in high school and even before in like elementary school, my family members and a few friends would say, "Oh, I'm gonna keep this drawing from you because you're going to be a famous artist one day." And I always thought that's ridiculous. Artists aren't famous. You know, it's not way back in the day where you'd know artists by their names all over the world. I thought that, you know, that just wasn't in our time period. So the fact that I have over 220,000 people every day looking at my work on Instagram alone is just, I can't even comprehend it, and it's amazing, and it's all because of you guys, and just thank you. I just never thought there would be any sort of truth to that statement from family and friends, and I feel beyond blessed, and that's why I want to do videos more often so I can share the experience with you. And that's also why I teach that entrepreneur class at Laguna College of Art and Design, LCAD, because it's absolutely possible. I didn't think it was possible for so long. I thought the term starving artist was a term well known for a reason. It's really exciting to see that that's not the case at all. Being an artist or an illustrator is a serious job, and I'm glad I stuck with my gut and continued on with art. I'd love to make more videos about art school and even doing art in high school if anyone's interested. But back to this piece here. I usually try to keep my artwork nowadays more PG-13, and hopefully this falls under that category. It's not too suggestive, but it is a little suggestive. I like to mix a little bit of sensuality with my pieces. Not too much. I don't like to be too provocative, but not that there's anything wrong with that in art by any means, but for my art personally, I guess I try to keep my audience at a PG-13 level, maybe PG. The last couple pieces I've stuck with black clothing on light bodies, and I want to do more variation, especially do some darker skin with light clothing on top because that's a fun contrast to play with. But I'm currently obsessed with this white hair look. I don't know anybody with white hair, but the look in these celestial pieces is kind of fun. It makes it seem more otherworldly. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the white hair versus the black hair with stars in it. I know I've said it a million times by now, but if you're new here, I am compiling all of these pieces into a Kickstarter book with limited edition prints and stickers and enamel pins. Some will be gold embellished, some will be silver, some will be holographic. I'm currently planning that. I wanted to have it released halfway through the month, but it will probably be a little later. I want to get most of the images down before releasing that, just so you know what to expect. I also want to thank you all so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel. I have been completely inspired to keep doing videos, and I have a million different ideas bouncing around in my head. I can't even think straight, I'm so excited. I haven't received any news back from YouTube yet about monetization, but I have faith in them. Hopefully they will review it soon. But you all have been so supportive just by subscribing and following my other social media that I'm nothing but happy and honored. All right, and here is the finished piece. I really enjoyed how her gold embellishments turned out on here. I also like how the nebula reads in the composition as well. I hope you all enjoyed this piece and will follow along in my series. I will see you all tomorrow for number 13, Draco the Dragon. Have a lovely day!